Teacher Jerry from Robinson Intermediate Library, and I'm going to do first chapter Fridays with you guys. And I found a book that involves a little bitty train, or actually some little train. But isn't that cute? It's about a girl who goes on an incredible adventure and a boy that's stuck in a snow globe and a train. Interesting combination there, especially the boy stuck in the snow globe. When I read that blurb on the back of the book, I was really like, okay, that got my attention. It really did. I would love to be stuck in a snow globe. I think that'd be incredible to be in that world and be that small, and to be able to be that small on a train like this. But then I would worry about, dinner, because I love to eat. But anyways, this book is called The Train to Impossible Places, and it's written by P.G.Bell. Train, Bell, get it? Anyways, it was written in 2018, and it looks really cool. And then this one's actually called A Cursed Delivery. And here we go. Oh, I love the pictures on the inside of the cover. It actually shows a diagram or a graphic of some of the parts of a car. And I'm familiar with some of these things because my sons have been fascinated with trains since they were little tiny guys. They're not so little anymore. Got a 9th grader and a 10th grader. But when they were little, boy, we had to chase down all the trains and take pictures of them. So yeah, there's a locomotive, and this one looks like it's a steam powered, but it also looks like it has a clubhouse on the back of it. Look at that. Look at this. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, we have the tender. That's where your coal or your wood would be carried. And, of course, the straw. What is that? Oh, where's that side? Oh, that's a sorting car. Now, I've never seen that. That actually looks like a caboose to me. And then HEC, not familiar with that, but I've seen kind of those round-looking, cylinder-looking sausage cars on many long trains. Cool. I really like the locomotive with the clubhouse. That's cool. I would like that. I'd like to go drive on that one. The first chapter is called Lightning in the Living Room. It started with a flash, a green flash, as bright and quick as lightning, there and gone again. It happened so quickly that Susie wasn't sure she had seen anything at all, although she raised her head from her homework and looked around. What was that? She asked. What was what, darling? Said her mother from the sofa, where she and Susie's father both sprawled in a heap, still in their work clothes. Susie frowned. Did you see it, Dad? Her father was hunched up over his tablet, reading the news and muttering to himself about the state of the government. See what? See what, sweetheart? That green flash. Didn't either of you see it? Said her mother, shaking her braids loose while trying to stifle an enormous yawn. Her father looked around the room in bleary-eyed confusion. I didn't see nothing. Susie set her lips into a hard line. Perhaps it had been the TV. She peered over her mother's shoulder at the screen, but she was watching another costume drama. Men with tall hats riding on horses in the countryside. No green flashes there. You've been overdoing the homework again, said her father, scratching his unruly mop of ginger hair. Give your eyes a rest and come sit with us for a bit. I'm also finished, said Susie, and turned back to her workbook. It was physics homework, and Susie was good at physics. Actually, she was good at math, but she preferred physics because it made the math useful. It turned the numbers into real things that moved and made a difference. She couldn't understand why anyone would want to do plain old math all by itself. Solving equations was fun for a while, but all you ever ended up with was more numbers. And what were you supposed to do with them? No, math was just another way of filling up pieces of paper. Physics was where the real action was. But lately it had started to make her feel a bit unusual, which wasn't a feeling she liked much. None of her friends shared her enthusiasm, and they had started to sneak little sideways looks at her in the class whenever she gave the right answer or got her experiments to work properly. They never said anything, of course, and they weren't being rude exactly, but she had seen it in her eyes. It was the same look they sometimes gave Reginald, the class nerd with the dinosaur obsession, who, on the rare occasion when someone engaged him in conversation, would talk about nothing else. It was a look that mixed pity with suspicion, as though she were the victim of some terrible affliction and they were afraid it might be catchy. The thought made her pause and lift her pen from the paper. The homework was pretty simple. Mr. Marchwood, her teacher, had assigned 10 questions on Newton's law of motion. Now I wonder what that is. I've heard that all my life. If you're not sure, Google it, or hey, go to one of our databases like Britannica and find out what Newton's law of motion is. I'd be curious to find out too. Susie had actually finished them an hour ago, but her imagination had been sparked and she had carried on, testing herself to see how she could put the knowledge to use. How fast would a rocket need to fly to escape Earth's gravity? How long would it take that speed to reach the moon? And how much force would she need to get back? She had taken up 3 extra pages of her book with her questions. Her working out spilled into the margin. She was fairly confident she had the answers right, but would need Mr. Marchwood to confirm them. She hoped he would. He had given a long, weary sigh the last time she had handed in her homework. Susie, he had said, as if I didn't have enough work to do. Her pen hovered above the page, the next question already forming in her mind. She looked back over her shoulder at her parents, who were now propped against each other, snoring gently. Tomorrow was Saturday. She had the whole weekend to work out the final question, she decided. Perhaps her dad was right. If she was seeing green flashes that weren't there, her eyes probably needed a rest. Susie replaced the top of her pen, shut her homework book, and stuffed them back into her school bag. Good night, she whispered, deciding not to disturb her parents as she padded across the room to the hall. Her footsteps had faded upstairs before another green flash filled the living room. Then another and another. Ribbons of green energy curled out of the air around the table where she had been working, probing down across her chair as though searching for something. When they didn't find it, they flickered uncertainly for a few seconds before fizzling away into nothing. The green light faded. Upstairs, Susie brushed her teeth and prepped for bed, obviously. Chapter 2 is called An Unexpected Visitor. I'm wondering if Chapter 2 is when the train's going to come in to the action in the story. I was hoping the train would get in the first chapter, but evidently not. They're kind of setting the setting, and these green lights have something to do with what's going to go on in the action next. I'm just sure of it. So I'm wondering maybe, or hoping that Chapter 2 we get to hop on board the train. And if you're curious about this book, we do have it in our library. It's in the fiction section. And if you'll look in this B section in our fiction, BEL, stands for the first 3 letters of the author's last name, and it's BELL. That's where you will find this book. So come on in, check it out.